Something that is very easy for people to forget anytime that you have any kind of interaction with somebody that is not pleasant. If you just get into an argument, if you get into some kind of an unpleasant altercation, what it is very, very hard for people to ever consider, and I'm talking about faith-minded people, not people who have no faith, people who are secular, they don't believe in this kind of stuff anyway. But if you have faith, one thing that the worm, the deceiver, wants us to do is to forget that every time we have a bad experience with somebody, we're not having that experience with the person. They may be being used as the vessel and the skin sack to do it, but if somebody is being mean or nasty to you, especially if it's really bad. Some people can be very nasty, very bellicose, very belligerent. Some people just have a bad day. Now look, we all have bad days. Demons can oppress anybody. If you're afraid, if you're not feeling well, if you're stressed and you have word vomit, that's a demon basically taking advantage of your hard day. But there are people out here who are just nasty. They're very vengeful. They're very spiteful. They are very nasty to other people. And what it wants us to do when we have an experience and an interaction with someone like that is it wants us to think about the person. It wants us to blame the person and say, it's their fault. They're just a bad person. They're just a jerk. They're wicked. They're evil. They want us to blame the person. Because if we don't understand where the nastiness and the volatility is really coming from, if we don't know, we stand no chance of properly fighting back against it. But when we understand where the hurt and the pain directed at us is coming from, if we know that it is coming from a demon, and I mean that in the most literal sense I possibly can. If you know somebody who is just nasty, they're just really, really volatile, maybe to you, they have split personality disorder or multiple personality disorder, or they seem like they're great today and they flip their wig tomorrow, or maybe they're just in general all the time, they're just unpleasant. You need to understand that with people that are really, really bad, those individuals are literally possessed. They have a dark spirit. They have an actual spiritual entity living inside of them that is using them like a skin sack and influencing their brain, their thoughts, their words, what comes out of their mouth, and the actions of their hands to do the things they do. It is not the person who is doing it. It is the demon who is controlling them, making them do it. And that is where it tries to rob our Father, Yah Elohim. That is where it tries to rob his children's power from us, our power. If it can make us blame the person, if it can make us look at the person who did something to us and say, man, you're just and get mad at them, feel hard feelings toward them, maybe even sink to their level, maybe even get into an argument with them. The moment we cross verbal blades with somebody who is possessed, we have immediately lost and we are wasting our time. When someone is possessed with a demon, and my job doing what I do, I have seen, I have battled, I have actually contended with full, outright, aggressive possession. I know this better than most from experience. When someone is possessed with a demon, you cannot talk to them. And I don't mean that metaphorically. I don't mean that as just, well, you just can't talk to that person. You literally will not get through to them. It is impossible. Because when someone is being so heavily oppressed or possessed by a demon that it literally is controlling their mind, their tongue, they are incapable of holding a reasonable, rational conversation with you because they're not in control. They are literally in the back seat in that time. It's like literally being in the back seat of your own mind and playing second fiddle to an entity that is inside of you, pulling your strings like a puppet. Therefore, if you have any kind of bad interaction with another person, the last thing you ever want to do is argue with them, fight with them, debate with them. And one of the key signs of possession or very, very heavy oppression is the person will just seem irrational, illogical. Their arguments and the points they try to make in the conversation will rapidly jump from thing to thing to thing because a demon, just like their master, like it, they cannot speak truth. So a demon will never, ever, if a demon is speaking through somebody, it's never going to allow that person to speak truth or think rationally because all demons can do is deceive and work in fallacy and lies. So if somebody will not give you a straight answer and they keep jumping from thing to thing to thing, they're being irrational, illogical, coming up with crazy stuff, you are not dealing with that person anymore. You are literally dealing with a dark spirit, with a demon. And your only proper response is to walk away. Walk away from them. You will hurt that demon. You will upset that demon more if you just walk away and ignore that person because you're not giving the demon what it wants. The demon wants the satisfaction of getting you riled up, getting you mad, getting you bitter, making you lash out. It wants that. But if you don't give it and you just say, okay, well, I'm just going to walk away, it doesn't get satisfaction. Likewise, if you can't just walk away, if you stand there while they're going off and you literally do not say a word, you literally just stand there. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. And you don't respond. You don't feed that demon. You have to understand, if you reply and respond to people like that, you are literally having a conversation with the dark demonic entity that is living inside of them. And if for one moment you have the ability to listen through the ether, listen through the invisible veil that we can't see between the physical and the spiritual, if you have the ability for one moment to hear through that veil, then what you would hear when that person was speaking to you would not be them. You would not hear their voice. You would literally hear the dark demonic voice of a dark spirit speaking through them. If you had the sight to see past the physical and into the spiritual for a time, you would not see them. You would see the demon literally either inside of them or so heavily pressing them, it is literally right over top of them, whispering into their ear. You would literally see it. So the reason I'm saying this is because it is very easy for us as people to get mad at the way other people treat us, get mad at the things other people says and the things that other people do, because we blame them and we think, well, they did it. They may have been used as the physical flesh sack to do it. And it doesn't excuse them from guilt for being weak enough to allow themselves to be used. But they still did not do it. It was a demon working in them and through them that caused them to do what they did. And if you don't remember this, if you don't keep this in mind, then every time that you ever go out here, anytime you ever walk out of your home, you are going to fall prey. You are going to literally have a glowing neon sign attached to you, or like a bright red target right on your body. And those demons are going to come right for you because they know that you're not mindful of them. So if they bring somebody your way to give you a hard time or to attack you or anything, they know that you are not going to see them. You're going to see the person. You're going to blame the person. And that's what they want. And then they get away with it. Do not hold conversation with a demon. And again, it is so easy to pick out when somebody is being very, very heavily oppressed or possessed because of their actions. You can tell. It is so easy. I feel like what Father's trying to convey right now is this is more important for us to remember than anything else we do. When we talk to anyone, and that doesn't just deal with people that are being nasty to us. This has to do with anybody who is in any way being unpleasant to you, whether they're being combative, whether they're seeking a fight, an argument, or even for people that do not walk in our faith, who do not believe the way we do. People who, whether they're secularists, they have no faith, or whether they're Christians who look at us and give us a hard time for our faith, or try to make us feel like we need to say different things, use different words, or change things about how we act around them because they're going to find us weird, or they might call us out and say, well, you're this or you're that. If we walk in and use the words and the terms and stand for the truth of Father the way we do. Look, you need to understand, when we deal with people that do not want to walk in the truth of Father, they don't want to truly know Him. They don't want to know Yahshua properly. It's just their Savior, their Messiah, not their deity. They don't want to get the paganism out of their life. They don't want to test and approve and refine their faith. People that don't want to walk in this truth of Father, anybody who looks at you and criticizes you or gives you a hard time for how you practice your faith, how you speak, the things you say in observance of your faith, do not dare for one single second change anything about how you do anything for them, because they're not the ones that are giving you a hard time. They're not the ones that are criticizing you in your faith, criticizing you for walking in this truth, criticizing you for being odd and unique. The ones that are really giving you that hard time is the demon that is on that person, either possessing them or oppressing them, that is trying to cow you and to walking away from Father's truth and renouncing it by using the person that they're speaking through to make you feel like an outcast or an outsider or a freak, or that you're wrong, or that you can't be who you truly are around that person. And the same way, if we're being attacked by somebody, we're being verbally assaulted, we're dealing with somebody irrational, somebody's just nasty to us. And the same way as that, if we are attacked for anything, especially concerning our faith, we are not being attacked by the person. We are being attacked by the demons that are on that person. You know, for me, I don't care what anybody thinks or says about my faith and how I walk and practice my faith. I could care less. If I meet somebody, like, for instance, if I meet a normal Christian who doesn't like the words and the terms I use, and they don't like the truth I walk in, and they have a problem with it, then I'm not going to get mad at them, and I'm especially not going to change the way that I am around them to appease them, but I'm also not going to waste my time giving them a second thought, because they're not the ones that were trying to give me a hard time. They're not the ones that were trying to clown my case. It was the demons on them that was seeking to make me feel bad about what I do, and ultimately seek to turn me away from this truth, the truth of Father. So this is a lesson that is broad, and it is so multifaceted. It's not just people that are mean and nasty to us. It's people we have any kind of confrontation with, people that don't agree with us, people that especially don't agree with how we walk our faith. Anybody who comes at you with any kind of badness, any kind of negativity, any kind of pessimism, any kind of slander, you are not dealing with them. You are dealing with the demon that is on them or in them. And of anything you do, you need to keep this in your mind every single day. Because when we let our guard down, we don't realize that it's demons doing all the things that it's being done to us, then we lose our way. Because we're not seeing the root cause anymore. Now we're seeing the person, the vessel being used for that hurtful or bad stuff. And you're not going to do anything by attacking the vessel. You're not going to get anywhere with the one being used as a puppet. And that's just a fact. So I'm getting ready to get off here. As you can probably tell, I'm exhaustedly tired. That's why my eyes are so heavy. I have had a super long, day or two. I traveled, so didn't didn't rest much the night before. So I've been going for a while now without sleep. I'm gonna head to bed, but Father wanted me to tell you this, lay this out for you because it's very important. It's very important.